welcome to Autocar Professional. BMW India has gained market share and is now #1 in Indian luxury car market if you go by Vahan data. To talk more about it, I have with me Mr. Hardeep Singh Brar. Thank you so much, Mr. Brar, for taking time out for us. First of all, congratulations. You are now the #1, at least when you see the Vahan data. So can you look back at H1, the entire first half of this year? What worked for you and how has it been?
So thank you, Mugdha, for being here at our BMW corporate office. Looking back at H1, four things which really worked for us. Number one is the electric strategy that we embarked on a few years back. That has really given us a very good benefit. In last year, we were 21% penetration on EVs in our portfolio. It has improved to 26% now, which means more and more electric portfolios coming into play. So that has been our mainstay. Number two, we have expanded into now 40 cities and we're looking at 10 more markets. So expanding into tier 2 and tier 3 has also worked very favorably for us. Number three, the long wheelbase strategy, which we worked on today. Our long wheelbase portfolio is about 52%. And that is also what people are loving. I think people love to be chauffeured during the weekdays and they want to drive themselves. And BMW gives them best of both the worlds. So that is number three. And number four, I think our strong belief in brand and customer experience. If you look at the experiential events that we do for our customers, people are really loving it. We did our M-Drift Academy, we did golf events, then we participated in the art fair, Oberoi Concours, and by the way, we are sitting in Oberoi's building here. So, all these things, people are really loving, getting engaged and immersed in the brand experience that we are providing them. And our net promoter scores have improved significantly over the last year. So all this put together, and last but not least, I think Mini has just started firing. As you know, we launched the Countryman C in the plant, and this year we want to really double the volumes. And last month was the first month when we were away from our average of 50, 60 units to 150 plus. So, and you will see more Mini in action in the second half of the year.
Okay, let's now focus a little bit on EVs first. You have been doing very well in EVs, but again, how much does the EV growth comes from iX1?
So we have two big models in our electric portfolio. One is the 7 Series, where we have i7, and then iX1 and X1. So in both the models, our EV contribution is 60%. Okay. And 40% ICE, 60% EV. I don't think you will see any other model in the portfolio of any other manufacturer in India where the EV portfolio sells more than the ICE equivalent model. And that too for a model where you have both of them available. So this is very unique to us. So both the portfolio at the entry, at the top are doing extremely well, which is really giving us this huge advantage.
Okay, one product that we have spoken about earlier as well, which is the 5 Series. How has the performance been for that?
Yeah, 5 Series is doing, in fact, that this is the third largest selling model for us. So I think if I tell in terms of number, I think we sold more than 1,200 in the first half, which is, I would say, and doing very well. And as I said, long wheelbase is really working for us. So both 3 Series and 5 Series with the long wheelbase is really a pleasure to drive and even to sit at the back seat.
This #1 position has come to you after over a decade, 13, 14 years, as you were telling me. And the competition is quite intense at the top. So what is your expectation for the rest of the year?
So, we have launched 11 models in the first half of the year. The second half of the year is even more intensive. We are launching 14 more models. In the first half, they were predominantly ICE. In the second half, it's going to be electric as well, a couple of electric models. Then a very good mix of sedans and SUVs. So, which gives me even more confidence for the second half that if we were able to do with only ICE launches, more SUV launches in first half with a mix of powertrain of electric and ICE and also sedan and SUV, I think second half is going to be even more rocking.
So, if I may ask, can you share some of the products that you are really excited about?
I think we have always kept the launches secret, but I can tell you we are coming up with a sedan, which is a couple of sedans which are electric, sedans which has ICE, SUVs which are having ICE. So it's a mix of everything, and very interestingly, we are also launching some special editions for Mini as well. So we launched the Victory Edition in the first half, the GP inspired edition for Mini, and both of them are sold out after we launched the convertible last year for Mini. Another thing that I want to add here is I think convertible space is also becoming very interesting. So Mini convertible and now the M440i, the new convertible of BMW. So you have the range starting from 50 lakhs to 1.1 crores. So you can test both end of the spectrum with the convertibles, and people are really loving it. And in the weather like this, when it is raining and lovely, and from now onwards, weather will only improve.
Yeah.
It's very nice to have a convertible in the second half of the year.
Okay, now that also brings me to your performance segment.
Yeah.
How has the performance segment been, and what potential do you see there?
I think the M performance cars, people are really loving it. And we also launched the M2 CS, which was 1.7 crores. And it is all sold out. M2 is getting a terrific response. We had some of the CBU stuck in the transit during the last quarter because of the West Asia crisis, but that is behind us, and our supplies are improving for M cars in the second half. I think the growth is lower than 17% in M cars in the first half because of the logistics issue, and we are confident that we'll be able to compensate for that in the second half of the year. So you'll see a lot of action on the performance side. And very importantly, I want to add here, we did the M Drift Academy, which I spoke about, and I think it has got some very rave reviews across. Right now, we have gone to the bigger markets like Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, but in the next season, we want to go to the smaller tier 2, tier 3 towns, because people who have come from those markets, and we also feel that this will do extremely well in those markets if we do events like these.
So now from here on, do you think you will get more allocation for India, considering you have had exceptional growth in last few years now?
Yeah.
So does that give you more confidence for bringing in more newer products to India?
Yeah, I think India is getting more and more attention. Firstly, let me tell you, India is the largest growing market for BMW in the world, both for brand BMW as well as Mini. So, and India is getting a lot of attention, and hence India is getting priority. We were outside of the top 20 markets till last year. We have moved into the top 20 markets now. And the plan is that we move into the top 15 markets by end of this decade. And hence, the Munich is making sure that India gets all that we want. And hence, we see a lot of attention from there.
One question that I have is on this EU FTA. What is your assessment after EU FTA? Will it be more viable for you, economically viable for you to import products, or will assembling in India still be a better prospect?
I think in short term, we will still prefer local manufacturing because our duties for the part by part is 15% and SKD is about 35%. And if you look at the India EU FTA, first year will start at 40%. So when it starts at 40% and maybe by fourth, fifth year, it will make sense because by that time duty will come down to 10%. And I'm talking only about the ICE models, not for the electric vehicles, because this benefit on electric vehicles will start from the sixth year onwards. So coming to ICE first, I don't think in short term it will make sense, but in long term, yes, it makes sense. But then the question is, how much is the quota available? Because if by that time we reach 35,000, if we get a quota of only 10,000, then I still have to manufacture here rather than fully dependent on EU. So it depends on multiple factors. So we are still looking at it is not fully out. The quota discussion has not really, it has started, but we haven't got the full clarity on the quota. Once we have that, I think that will really help us in making our strategy in long term.
How's the consumer sentiment right now when you are talking to them? What is their view right now, especially in the context of E20? Because that's putting a lot of question mark in people's mind on the I side, on the petrol side, of course.
I think we are giving certainty to our customers that our cars are fully compliant up to E25, so there is no problem whatsoever. Of course, I think there are some concerns that I also keep on hearing on the social media, but so far as BMW is concerned, we are fully sorted, and we will go with whatever the regulations are. Our only request is that we should know about the regulation much in advance, so that we can fully prepare for that.
But do you think this E20 mandate and people's concern and all this social media chatter will push people towards EVs more?
I think that also is pushing, I think very valid point, why, a couple of factors why the EV narrative is getting attention. One point, this is because if there is so much of noise going on in social media, it will naturally push customer towards the safest option, because EV does not have EV is phenomenal and away from all the noise which is going around. And also the recent fuel prices increase because of the West Asia crisis has also kind of created uncertainty in consumers' mind that which way the fuel prices are going to go. So that is also, I think, playing on their mind. So I think both the factors put together is also one of the reasons why people are moving away from ICE and coming to EVs. And I see a lot of shift from the diesel customers coming towards ICE, because the range of 500 plus and the newer models.
Diesel coming towards EVs.
EVs, that's right. Okay. So that is a big shift, because the regulations are becoming stringent around diesel. You've already seen in Delhi, the registration duration is only 10 years versus 15 years for other models. So, and people are worried that if diesel regulation gets worse in other areas, that will become a problem. So EV is the safest haven. Number two is on the people buy diesel to save cost. I think with EVs, you practically don't have any cost. I think the biggest concern on EVs was the range anxiety. So the range is increasing for EVs. Now it is north of 500 kilometers, and the charging infrastructure is getting better. And very importantly, the fast charging infrastructure is getting better. And you see a lot of 120 kilowatt charger, which can charge your car in 30 minutes to 1 hour, which is making things very easy for the electric car buyers.
And what about resale value? Because that's one concern on in EV purchasing decision that bothers people. So are you thinking of giving, you have, I think, a couple of buyback plans. How much do they help?
I think that is the biggest advantage that we have in BMW. And I will also attribute the reason for 26% penetration in our portfolio to the 360-degree program that we have, which gives you an assured buyback value after 3 years, 4 years, depending upon what you need. So that is really working in our favor, and hence very high penetration for the electric vehicles.
Okay. I also want your comment on Delhi's EV policy. How have you seen it? Because there is a cap of 30 lakhs there. What is your assessment there?
Last year when there was policy in Haryana, a lot of people shifted from Haryana to Delhi. With now people shifting, there's a extra taxes on EVs in Delhi, then I think maybe there could be a shift to UP as well. But I think largely over a period of time, people adjust to this and they try to see where they're getting lower registration. But I would say, the state policies should be in line with the central government policies. I think central government is keeping 5% GST consistent all across. I would suggest that state policy should follow the central policies and not the other way around.
All right. Now, one question on the industry, because there are lots of headwinds when you look at the economy. First of all, Forex. Then second is West Asia crisis still seems to be a little up and down. What is your expectation for the industry growth and then BMW's growth this year?
I think industry, BMW is actually driving the growth in the luxury market. I think the luxury growth is about 3 to 4%, whereas BMW is growing at 17%. Even in EVs, while BMW is 26% penetration, the luxury market is about 14%. If we remove BMW, it will be about 8 to 9%, which is slightly better than the mass market, which is about 6 to 7%. So I think BMW is driving the growth in luxury as well as in the EVs, and we would love to continue to do that.
Okay, one question on your product. First question is, how much is iX1 contributing to your entire portfolio? Of this 10,000 plus that you have sold,
Yeah.
How much is iX1?
I think it is about 20 odd percentage. I think we'll get you the exact number. So about 20% is what is coming from electric vehicles from iX1.
So if somebody says that you have a lot of reliance on entry-level market, how would you defend your position?
I think it's not very different. You've seen some of the other players moving into the entry market. And frankly, I would love that if more players are coming in here, because that's what will grow. So, we broadly divide the luxury into 4 segments. And going by that, every segment should have a fair share of 25%. So if entry has 30% share, I think it is not bad, because it's natural, and as per the price elasticity, the low price should have more share and the higher price point should have lesser share. So if it is around 30%, I think it's pretty decent to have that share. And we have seen some more players coming into that segment who earlier denied that they don't want to get into that, but I think they are also slowly getting into that. And I think it is good for the industry that more players participate in this and expand the market. Because only once you buy a luxury car, that you experience the car, that you will go on and graduate to the other cars.
And on pricing, we have seen some price increase. Do you think, do you need to take a couple of more?
Since beginning of last year, the rupee against euro has deteriorated by almost 18 rupees. And for every 1 rupee deterioration, we get impacted by 1% on our bottom line. So logically, the prices should go up by 18% to really compensate for that. But obviously, we can't pass on the entire impact of Forex to the consumers, because it can be detrimental. So last year, we increased prices by about 5 to 6%. And we have already increased by about 4% this year, and maybe another couple of percentage points in the rest of the year. But it's still not really compensate for that deterioration. But we are also trying to balance out between the price increase and the demand, and hence we are going step by step rather than just going completely into increasing the prices.
All right, Mr. Brar, thank you so much for taking time out
again for being here. It's always lovely to talk.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you.